Mark, thanks for talking to us today, because I know this is not one of your things you like doing. You make it known that you're not a person that likes to go and do TV interviews, but really you're here today to talk to the college and their people about your life, and you've had a fascinating time.
Well, I was here to find out a little bit about their interests. They're all budding computer scientists, technologists, and entrepreneurs. So for me, it was a nice opportunity to get a taste of what's interesting and happening for that generation.
If you don't mind, if we can just talk a bit about your life, because obviously, I mean, you've had an amazing time. Take us through it from South Africa and getting into being a geek, as you'd say, and your software.
This sounds a little bit like a preemptive obituary. I hope that's not the case. Yeah, South African. I grew up in South Africa. I still consider myself very South African. Was very fortunate during the internet boom to pursue ideas in e-commerce and security technology that facilitated e-commerce. Then I had the great privilege to go to Russia and fly to the space station with a crew.
Just let me go back a bit on this, because I mean,
sure.
you sold out your technology and became very, very wealthy very quickly indeed. Yes. Yeah,
very, very lucky. Yeah.
I mean, millions and millions of pounds, and that then left you free, as you're saying in the talk, like what you're going to do with yourself on this.
Sure, but it's I see it as something of a responsibility. You know what I mean? I'm in a position to do things that wouldn't otherwise happen. I think it's very good in the world to have agencies that can create things or try things that perhaps are, too creative or unusual or risky for either governments or other large institutions to try. So both across what I do philanthropically, the funding that I make available for kind of change agents in society, and commercially, and with personal projects like the space project, I think there's something of an obligation to use the privileged position that I'm in to do things that otherwise just wouldn't happen.
Okay, well, let's talk about
right or wrong, good or bad. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to think that you obviously had this money. You then had the chance to get into space. What, the second civilian, was it?
Yeah, Dennis Tito was a few steps ahead.
So what was the bill in those days for getting to space?
The sticker price was 20 million.
20 million.
Yeah, today it's 60 though, because the Russians are now the only way to get access to the space station, and their costs have gone up substantially. Even at the time, I thought it was money very well spent. The Russian space industry had essentially collapsed, and you had all of these rocket scientists who desperately wanted to stay employed in Russia. The US at the time was actively working to channel funding to the Russians to keep civilian space technology in civilian hands, essentially. And so my project was part of that. But it was also an opportunity to excite South Africans about science, about space, about technology, and about the mysteries of what's out there. Those are things that really motivate people, especially young folk, to take risks. And in the absence of that, we would stagnate.